And hello again, everyone. Welcome into this week's edition of Jacket Vision. Mickey Shadrick's joined by Oxford head coach Ryan Herring. Oxford on the road last Friday night at Fort Payne, winning the game 17-7 to improve to 8-0 overall, 5-0 in 6A Region 7 play. And Coach, you went into this game favored, of course, still battling some key injuries. Obviously, your quarterback situation, you still have injuries there going into this game. Fort Payne gave you all that you could handle, all you wanted in this one. Was it too close for comfort, or was it the kind of game you kids needed and to see them respond the way they did?
Well, it may be the kind of game we needed. It wasn't the kind of game we wanted. But Fort Payne, you know, I got to give them a lot of credit. They showed up, did some things different on defense, brought a lot of pressure. You know, wasn't real characteristic of how they've been in the last few weeks. And they gave us all we wanted, and we had to fight and scratch to come out there with a win.
You know, you and I talked about this last week. You knew this would be a tough trip. I mean, that's a tough place to go play. They've got a lot of pride and tradition. They're not going to lay down, and they didn't in the game. But you know, let's talk about that defense, which we do every week. You held them to under 200 yards of total offense in the game, and you also offensively, there was a point I think there in the fourth quarter they'd cut that lead to 3. And your offense went on a long scoring drive that kind of sealed the game. So talk about both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know, defensively, we played great all night. We gave up a couple of little balls in the air that, you know, we didn't play real well as far as coverage. But as far as playing the run, we did a great job all night. You know, I can't say anything bad about how we played as far as defense. We just gave up a couple plays on one drive, and we had a penalty that should have been a 10-yard penalty, but they marked off about 22 yards for some reason. And so that was on a 3rd and 17. It should end up being a 3rd and 7, but they messed up on how they assessed the penalty. But offensively, you know, they gave us a hard time. I mean, they played well. They had a nose guard about 6'4", 265, who was a lot better in person than he was on film, and he gave us fits all night. And we didn't do a great job blocking at times. You know, we didn't protect the quarterback well, so a lot of little things, and a lot of that goes to Fort Payne. Credit to Fort Payne. They did a good job of coming out with a different look, and they played hard. So, you know, I can't really take anything away from them. We didn't play well at times, but we played good enough to win, and that's all that matters.
Well, you played the game without your quarterback. Abe Peoples was out again. You had to rely on your freshman, Trey Higgins, and, you know, no major issues as far as didn't create any big mistakes for you. How did he manage the game on a tough situation?
Well, he did great. You know, he had a touchdown run on the option play, and for a 9th grader to do that, you know, that was pretty impressive. So, you know, I was very proud of him. And the times, like on interceptions, balls got tipped. We didn't protect him well. He had to get rid of the ball early at times just because the protection wasn't good. And a lot of that's our fault. We got to get that fixed. But I thought Trey did a real good job overall, though. So, you know, there's no blame on this, that, or the other. I think Fort Payne played great, and I don't think we played great, and, you know, at times, and I think it showed up.
And it's worth noting before we go to break, they have one of the best special teams players in the state this year, and Evan McPherson, a punter and a kicker, and he had an impact on the game.
Well, you know, when they kick off, you're going to start on the 20 because it's going to be in the end zone. He's the best field goal kicker I've ever seen, and probably the best punter I've ever seen. I mean, every time he punted, the field totally swapped. So if they punted from this 20, it ended up deeper than the other 20. So he changed the field every time he punted, you know. So he was as important as a good running back in the game. But he's the best I've ever seen.
All right, we'll take a break and come back with highlights from the first half of Oxford and Fort Payne. Stay with us. And the Yellow Jackets coming onto the field up at Fort Payne for a big region matchup with the Wildcats. Coach, here you are on offense.
Start the game off with a little fast screen right there. Trey does a great job of getting out there to Dave Russell. Caden gets out there and makes a good block. Right here just kind of hurt us right here. We didn't protect good, and the guy got his hands up, got a piece of the ball, and deflected it, and the linebacker intercepted it. So, I mean, great job by them. Here we are on a 3rd down and medium, and do a great job of stopping them. This was a crazy play right here. We had a bad snap, and then we had an even worse punt, but one of their guys touched it, and we somehow got back on it. So we called a break right there. That was a big break. Here we are here run the option with Trey, and Trey does a good job right there. It's a big first down. We end up stalling out a little bit, but Zane Barbeo comes in there and hits a big field goal for us. Back on defense right here, they did a lot of things they hadn't done. That was a little razzle-dazzle throwback screen to the running back, kind of caught us off guard, got him a first down. There's Shane Dimon right there. They influence right there, and he doesn't fall for it, makes a play in the backfield on the quarterback for a tackle for loss. Right here, we just kind of screw up in coverage a little bit. Brody's got the curl, and he flies out. Here they are, what we call a little fox screen. They do a great job right there, but we hit them right there later on in the game. They hurt us with it. And it was kind of weird. They're a spread offense, but you can see, looks like a little wing T-ish. Right here, they do a great job of getting the ball right there. Cornerback bites up on a screen fake, and that's just our fault. We're gonna do a better job. Right here, Corey Russell makes a big play right before half, blocks a field goal. They were gonna tie it up at 3-3, and he makes it just a great play, gets his hand up. He's about 6'3", long kid anyway, makes a great play right there. That's a big momentum stopper right there going into halftime.
And there you see the score. You're only up 3-0. Coach, you head into the locker room. You know you're in for a battle now, don't you?
Yeah, it's 3-0, and we've got it's a long trip up there in the yellow buses. And the kids. It was a hot week of practice, and we had some tough days out there, and everything just was looking kind of shaky. We wasn't protecting well. We thought we'd run the ball a little easier than what we were able to, and so we just had to get it at halftime and not really go crazy and panic. We just had to say, hey, we just got to stick to what we know we can do, and we got to be able to run the football, and every now and then we got to hit a play action. And defense, we're playing well, haven't given up any points. We just got to keep playing, and they hurt us again on the little fox screen again later on. But once we got it fixed, everything started looking a little better. But defense still played great the whole night.
You mentioned not a time to panic. I know you're a real fiery coach. That's how your dad was. That's how you play the game. Really in a lot of enthusiasm. But in a situation like this, what's the tone in the locker room? Do you think about those things like, how am I going to approach my kids? We're in a dogfight here on the road. Does that cross your mind as a coach going into that time?
Yeah, it's about a 2-hour bus trip, and things aren't going well. So I kind of have an analogy of there's a fire in the locker room at halftime, and we can go in and we can put gasoline on it or we can put water on it. And I went in there with jugs of water, making sure the fire didn't get bigger, and let's try to put it out. And but our kids handled it well. We just knew we just got to settle down, and what they're giving us is they're kind of what we expected, except they're bringing a little more pressure, stunting a little more than what they showed on film. We just had to relax and just get back to your basic rules on the offensive line, and just block your rules, and you'll be okay. But it never was easy, even the second half. It never was easy. They made it a tough game, and all credit goes to them and their coach staff. They did a good job.
And last thing before we go to break, we talk about this a lot, the type of year you're having, state-ranked, undefeated Oxford coming into town. This is their Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was their senior night. We're number one in the region, 7-0. This was their chance to have to stay close to the top in the region. So we got their best shot, and really all they can do is make us better, I hope.
All right, as we go to break, we'll listen in to the Oxford High School marching band from Friday night up at Fort Payne. Well, that was a first half struggle up at Fort Payne. Oxford 3-0 heading into the second half. And coach, second half, a lot like the first half.
Yeah, it was. It was a battle. It was a grind the whole time. Great job right here. Short yardage play. They get in a heavy set, and we spill it good. And Jordan comes downhill, runs the alley, and makes a great play. That's a good run by Trey right here on speed option. For a ninth grader, that stuff isn't easy. Run a little counter play right here, and offensive line's doing a great job blocking right there, and Gabe's doing a great job, also has done all year. Speed option again right here. I thought Titus ran that right there. That looked good. That looked like Titus of old right there. Here we are throwing it up, and Juicy Fagans right there makes a great catch, frames it up like a catcher in the major leagues. A little quick out right here to Dave Russell. A lot of good second effort right there by Dave. But we know we got to get in the end zone. We're coming right here with option again, and that looks like Oxford football from the 80s right there, doesn't it? But great job by Trey. Good job with the offensive line right there blocking. So we got just a little breathing room right now. Come right here, we're man-to-man. The guy just makes a good cut on Jordan. We get another break right there. That was huge right there on the road, getting a turnover right there with fumble recovery by Muncher. We try a little reverse right here, and it almost turned sour on us, but Dave does a good job of getting around that guy. They were a sound football team Friday night. I mean, don't misunderstand it. They played a great football game. They were sound. They got after it. Good job right there on the counter again. We don't do a good job right here blocking with our right side. We've got some things that we have to get fixed, and we'll get them fixed. Great job by Muncher right there, just playing hard. Great effort, gets a piece of that ball. Here goes a little fox screen again, and we don't do our job right there. Our backer doesn't stop the route, and so they're running free, and he's wide open. Right here we're man-to-man, and the guy who makes the tackle right there is not even the guy who's got him. Swain puts his eyes in the backfield, and the guy just gets open on a corner route. Great job, though, right here. This was kind of a game-breaker play in the game right here. Toss sweep to Titus. That was huge. That was a big play right there. Here we are, getting in the end zone right there. Good job running. Great job blocking right there. Real proud of the offense on that drive, getting in the end zone. So right now, 17-7. We got to come up with a stop. Here they are. Boom. Jordan Swain. He had some bad plays earlier, but he made up for it right here, getting a INT, and he takes it all the way back. We clip somebody in the back right there, so it gets negated, but great job by Jordan making a play right there. Here we are. We just got to get a first down or two right here and get the game under control and get it finished. And we run toss right there, and there we are in victory. And so about that point is when I finally could exhale and say, let's hurry up and shake hands and get on the bus and get back to Oxford.
Final score, Jackets win it 17-7. Once again, Oxford remains unbeaten on the season, 8-0, 5-0 in 6A Region 7. And by the way, this win sets up a pretty big game this week, a region championship game essentially with Pell City. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But right now, Coach, I want to look at your individual player awards from the game Friday night.
All right, Air Jacket Award this week goes to Dave Russell. Racehorse goes to Titus Lindsay. Highest grade defensive line goes to Shane Denman. Highest grade offensive line, Trey Latham. Special Teams Award, Zane Barbeo. Big field goal he hit. Most hits, Keon Fomby. Keon was all over the field. Meanest jacket, Keon Fomby. Game breaker, we thought Corey blocking that field goal was huge. Takeaways, guys that got turnovers, Janito Allen, Matthew Muncher, Jordan Swain. Hammer Award, the big hit award, goes to Keon Fomby and Kendall McCollum. And the Pride Award this week, I'm so happy to say, is Trey Latham's mama. She's dealing with a lot of stuff medically right now. But she, before the game, during the game, halftime, post-game, she was cheering so hard. I never hear individual people cheering to know who they are. I heard her the whole game. At halftime, we were leaving the field, and she's high-fiving and screaming and leading cheers. And I told the guys on Sunday, if there's one person who ought to get the Pride Award, it's Trey Latham's mama, and they all agreed. And after the game, as the boys came out of the locker room, she was cheering, clapping, screaming. It almost brought me to tears after the game, seeing how happy she was for the boys, how hard she was cheering for them. It was just great to see that real high school football spirit. And so we gave her that award, and hopefully that'll mean something to her.
Perfect segue, Coach, because Trey Latham is the feature of our player spotlight this week. We'll have that coming up next, as well as a look ahead to this Friday night's big matchup with Pell City as we continue on Jacket Vision. Well, it's time for our player spotlight feature with Chase Robinson, and the spotlight this week falls on a very key senior offensive lineman for the Yellow Jackets, Trey Latham. Trey kind of pulls double duty on the offensive line. Many times he'll line up at center, sometimes will line up at guard. And with more on Trey, here is Chase Robinson.
Oxford senior Trey Latham is no stranger to Oxford football or the offensive line, but he has found a new role he has been stepping into some this season, and that's at center.
Working on snaps, didn't know how I really do snapping the ball, but I did pretty good. Had a few mess ups at the beginning of the season, but I got it down packed and it's working out fine.
The 6'2", 270-pound lineman says to be successful at this position, you have to know everyone's position on the line because it all starts up front.
Knowledge of the game, knowing the defense, how they line up, because defenses move, going each week trying to learn everybody's position. You got to know everybody's position, because some people, when they come from different edges and stuff, you got to call it out and talk to it and be able to read it. It all starts up front. Coach, our offensive line coach, Coach Tapp, said if you put a hat on a hat, we'll have big games, and that's what we've been doing this week, getting better each week.
For Jacket Vision, I'm Chase Robinson.
And of course, Coach, if you follow football and you know that games are won up front, they really are on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And when you're playing center, you're the quarterback up front in the trenches, right?
Yeah, you're touching the ball every play. Everybody thinks it's a quarterback, but you're the first guy touching the ball. The snap's got to be there, or we don't have a play. So I can't stress how important it is to have a center who can snap the ball, who can make calls, who can block. Especially when you have a nose guard in there. I mean, somebody's got to handle that nose, and Trey's done a great job of that. And he's played through injuries this year. He's had a hurt ankle, a bad ankle sprain earlier in the year, and he's had to play hurt. So I can't say enough about him. He's always got a smile on his face. He's got a real good mama. That probably helps a lot. But he's done a great job for us, and it's been an honor and a blessing to have Trey on the team this year.
All right, well, it's time to talk about this week's huge 6A Region 7 matchup, a region championship game essentially this Friday night at Lamar Field, as the Oxford Yellow Jackets at 8-0, 5-0 in the region welcome in the Pell City Panthers, who are 5-2 overall, but they are undefeated in the region as well. So this is as big as it gets, and obviously you've got the rivalry aspect, the I-20 rivalry aspect to this game as well, Coach. So talk about the matchup with Pell City.
Well, it's going to be a tough game. It usually is, but it being the region championship basically is what this game is going to be. It's going to be a tough game. We've got to be ready to play. We've got to play a lot better than we did last Friday night. They kind of handled Fort Payne when they played them, so we've got to be ready to play, and we've got to play good football. They've got a lot of length. They got a lot of long, tall kids. They've got two defensive ends, 6'4" and 6'5". They've got a tall receiver. They've got a good running back, number 22. The quarterback's a move in from St. Paul's. He's about 6'4". He can throw the ball well. I've looked at him on film, and a couple of games they didn't look real good, but then a couple of games they looked real good. So, we're worried about them. We know it'll be a tough game.
And as with Fort Payne, you got their best shot. You're going to get Pell City's best shot, because I think early in when Oxford and Pell City started playing, I think Pell City got the message maybe a little quicker that they took the rivalry part of this thing personal when these two teams first started playing, I think, in this series.
Yeah, it's a good rivalry. It's in baseball. It's a big rivalry in baseball also, but it's a good rivalry. Geographically, we're not too far apart. We kind of have Gadsden City and Pell City as our two geographical rivals. So it's good, but also it's going to be tough. It's going to be a physical game.
All right, should be very interesting. Oxford at home Friday night, huge matchup with Pell City. We'll be back next week right here on Jacket Vision with all the highlights. Hope you'll join us then.